Shovel now. May the words of my lips and the meditation of my mind be acceptable before you, O Yah, my rock and my redeemer. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Giving all thanks and praise, honor to the God of our forefathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the great, mighty, and revered God, the Most High God, who granted us life this day and gave us peace on this holy Shabbat day. I bid you honor to talk about my forefathers. Shabbat Shalom, Shalom Lakam.
Shabbat Shalom, Shalom Lakam.
How's everybody doing today?
Well.
Everybody's well?
Okay.
Hallelujah. Showing respect to the Chief Prince of D.C.B, Prince Yedioth Ben Yissaskar. Crown Prince is in the house today.
Amen.
I'm giving you some time, Crown Prince. I ain't gonna overdo it. Hallelujah. To the mothers, brothers, and sisters, I thank you this day for even being here, taking part of the Most High Shabbat day, to recognizing that God created the heavens and the earth and he did it alone.
Amen.
I am going to be doing the portion today. Starting at Genesis 28, chapter 10. Before I get into the portion, I wanted to send my heartfelt condolences out to our brother Mordecai. He lost his father this week. So, you know, I got the information very suddenly, like many other people probably got it. But just to hope that the Most High God will grant him healing and peace in this time, because it's no joke to lose a parent in any way, shape, or form. I also lost somebody, so I lost my grandmother this week. Thursday morning, I was just trying to get out the house, and then, you know, I got the call. We were trying to prepare for it. There was a lot of things going on, complications. And, you know, doctors was like, you know, at this point, if we do certain things, it'll probably be worse, whatever, so we was just preparing for it. You know, you never think it's going to happen that soon. You know what I mean? So, but Torah YAH, she was 90 years old.
Amen.
So, yeah, she was 90, and she was a strong woman. You know, everything was fine up until 2 years ago. So it's you know, she had the strength, she had the vigor in her life. She raised my father, she raised my uncle, she raised my other uncle, Uncle Ishmael, Alfred, my father. So, you know, I just thank God that the Most High God gave her the time that he gave her. And, you know, that she's going out in peace and wellness and in the satisfaction that she did her job and did her job well. So the portion today is Wayetzei. And we're going to read about some of the trials and tribulations of our father Yaakov. You know, it seems that Yaakov's troubles don't cease, but it's part of getting a blessing. You know, you think about it in these terms, you know, Esau was very upset at Yaakov. First, he thought that he jerked him out of the first birthright, which he didn't. Esau lied. He didn't jerk you out of anything. You had a bargain. That's right. Right? Y'all had a bargain. He had a deal. The deal was, listen, bro, if you care about this that much, you sell me your birthright. But God said he despised his birthright. Because this is something that you get, that God grants you, you don't sell for beans. You don't sell for lentils. When you come into this way of life and you make an agreement with God, you don't sell this out just because, oh, me and my husband had an argument, I ain't doing this no more.
That's right, brother.
Or somebody in the congregation talked about me, I ain't doing this no more. That don't got nothing to do with you and God.
That's right. That's right.
Because people come who they are. Because we're going to read about some of these personality disorders that we deal with, that your father Yaakov dealt with back then, some of what we deal with today. Teach us. Matt talked about some personality disorders. I don't know if some of y'all read some of this stuff. If y'all did your homework, y'all read it. Y'all know that some of y'all got some of them issues too. Y'all may not have all of the traits, right, to make y'all totally dysfunctional. But you know, I read some of them. I got a little bit of that here and there myself. So it's not about pointing the finger, it's understanding yourself.
Amen.
And Yaakov had to understand who he was in terms of himself. This congregation, D.C.B, you know, just to let the air be clear, we're not in competition with anyone. The only congregation we're in competition with is ourselves. And most of the times what you don't understand is you have the obligation to do the best job for yourself.
That's right.
And you have the right to make sure that you can do that job. If you want to plant the garden, you know, you have a little fence around your garden. You need the fence around your garden because you got things called weeds and vermin and stuff that takes away stuff because you want your garden to grow right. Undesirable things. So you protect what you have against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That's your job. That's your obligation. Or else you don't have a place. Don't have a place when people be victimized and terrorized and can't walk around safe and be comfortable in their environment. It's not fair to them. It's not fair for them to be able to not worship God in the peace and the wisdom and the righteousness that God asks us to worship him in. We need that. And some of the reasons why we have so many problems because we don't have peace in our life. It is a known fact that most of the issues that you see that black people have is because they lived in an environment where they don't have any peace. We went from slavery to Jim Crow, black codes, civil rights, trying to fight for that. Then we go into our own homes where people get molested, abused, beat up. Then we got to go outside and deal with the cops. Got to go to the white man for a job. They got to tell us no darky, no blackie. That's trauma comes with those things. Trauma comes with all those things. And some of us don't know how to understand that the peace that's the wickedness and the drama that's outside don't need to be inside. That we can have peace in our homes regardless of what goes outside in the world. Baby, the world is eating me alive. Hubby, the world is eating me alive, but at least I know when I'm here, we may not have a lot, but at least we got peace. And that's what the enemy's trying to destroy. Because people come up, listen, most of us come up poor. God, nothing, he ain't rich. But what we understand is love. Even though we were Christians, we understood God. Not to the full understanding of who God is, but we understood the peace that having to worship something and having hope in something comes with. And we understood the value of one another. When you don't value the people that you're around, and this is why we have some of the issues we have, you don't have people come around you and you spit on them. That's not what you do with God's people. So when God's people have a problem with you, you got to check yourself sometimes. Everybody ain't rebelling. You step on my dignity, you're going to have a problem because sometimes that's all I got. I don't got money. I don't got the respect of this world. I could walk outside any day and get locked up for nothing. Right, Matt?
Yes, sir.
Just because.
Locked up for nothing. Right? Obviously, they find if I find out, get released, whatever, but that's still time and energy that's taken away from me. They got my prince. I'm in the system now. I got to deal with this. I got to deal with that. So if all we have left is our dignity, our self-respect, our manhood, our womanhood, you don't take that and in the name of God, quote unquote, step on that. Because I ain't going to look at you the same. I can't look at you the same. This is the reason why we fight in the streets so hard. People who are poor, they don't have nothing, and you give them limited resources, and they want to fight for those resources. I was watching that, this is series Spartacus. I kind of watch it every year. It's very crazy, so it's not for everybody. But it's for sure, it's not for everybody. There's a part where they got the Romans and they took them over and, they had bread. And, they were starving, and they threw the bread on the floor, and they made them fight for the bread. And believe it, these guys that once had everything, they was killing each other for that bread. One guy, his woman was pregnant, the other guy was it. They want to fight for that bread. But what keeps us in the mode of righteousness and integrity is God's Torah. That's why we keep law. Amen. We keep law so that we can remain godly despite what goes on around us. Amen. The reason why, one of the main reasons why we went into captivity, idolatry was bad, what we were doing was bad before God, but we were doing real bad, nasty, dirty things to one another. Amen. God said that you go and you make slaves out of your own kind. You think you don't deserve slavery if you make your own brother a slave? And we're going to read about that taking advantage of, that being told that, even from your own family member, being taken advantage of from your own family member that you should be able to trust and honor and respect. But when there's selfish motivations behind what you want, you can't see the right. You can't see how to practice good in the situation because you want what you want despite what's right. Amen. So let's look into the portion and let the Most High God tell a story. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. We're in the portion of Wayetzei, which is found in the book of Bereshit, which is Genesis chapter 28, verse 10. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yaakov went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran. And he lighted upon a place and tarried there all night because the sun was set. And he took one of the stones of the place and put it under his head and lay down in the place to sleep. And he dreamed. And behold, the ladder sat upon the earth, and the top of it reached unto the heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending upon him. And behold, Yahweh stood beside him, and said, I am Yahweh, the God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Yitzchak. The land whereon thou liest, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee, and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed.
Stop right there. We have to look at this from Yaakov's point of view, because this is the first time he's getting a vision from God, a message from God. Everything else came from Abraham, his grandfather, or his father, Yitzchak. So now this is the first time he's out on his own. And you remember, unlike when his father went to get a wife, an emissary went with money and all types of stuff like that, so that was easy. Yaakov was traveling with nothing. He don't got nothing in his pockets. He's runaway right now. So he's having this vision. And what he's seeing is a ladder or a staircase or some type of means of portal of going up and down. And he's seeing, I don't want to use the word angels because it defeats the purpose of what he's seeing. He's seeing messengers. He's seeing messages go back and forth. And it's coming from his perspective where he's seeing these messengers. And then God is standing right next to him. Now this is not, remember, it's a dream. So God gives things based on metaphors. So it's not like the creator of heaven and earth is right there and he's seeing them and they hugging and stuff like that. That's not the way it goes. It's just that that's when he was talking, that entity that was there represented God.
Right. Amen.
And he said, I am Yahweh, the God of Abraham, giving identity now. You recognize these men. This is your grandfather. This is your father. I am their God. I am Yahweh, the God of Abraham, thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land wherein thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee, and in thy seed, shall all the families of the earth be blessed. That's part of the blessing that his father gave him. So, continue.
15. And behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee whithersoever thou shalt goest, whether thou goest, and will bring thee back into this land, for I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken to thee of. And Yaakov awakened out of his sleep, and he said, surely Yahweh is in this place, and I knew it not. And he was afraid. And he said, how full of awe is this place? This is nothing other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven.
Now, stop there. Jacob was totally wrong. But he's seeing things from a human point of view. God is not in that place. God is everywhere.
Right.
And what he was seeing was that the fact that God will always be with him. He was seeing the messengers of heaven go back and forth between him and the Most High. And the Most High standing right there and showing him, this is our relationship.
Right.
Wherever you go, this is what our relationship looks like. Israel, wherever you go, that's what your relationship with God looks like. The message, that means that he was showing him that your prayers are being heard. Somebody's making sure, you know how you give that person, the FedEx man, your package, and you expect that package to be delivered? Or you order, I know this is the better way, y'all order something online from Amazon. And y'all put a 2-day shipping. And y'all expecting for that to be for it to be coming, especially in 2 days, especially knowing that you paid a lot for the merchandise, and on top of that, you paid extra for the shipping time. You want that thing coming on time.
Right.
And you want the reliability of whether if it says USPS, UPS, FedEx, DHL, you want your thing on time. The Most High is showing you that regardless of where you're going, your prayers are being heard on high. Amen. And he's seeing that for himself. Right. So from a human perspective, he's thinking that God is in that place. And you got to give him, this is the first time he's getting any revelations from God, so you got to bear with him. He's learning.
Yes, sir.
But God is not with the place, God is with him. Tumshi.
18. And Yaakov rose up early in the morning and took the stone that he had put under his head and set it up for a pillar and poured oil upon the top of it. And he called the name of that place Beit El, but the name of the city was Luz at the first.
Amen.
And Yaakov vowed a vow, saying, if God will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on, so that I come back to my father's house in peace, then shall Yahweh be my God. And this stone, which I have set up for a pillar, shall be God's house. And of all that thou shalt give me, I will give surely a tenth unto thee.
Tumshi.
Chapter 29, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And Yaakov went on his journey and came to the land of the children of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field. And lo, 3 flocks of sheep lying there by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks. And the stone upon the well's mouth was great. And thither were all the flocks gathered, and they rolled a stone from the well's mouth, and watered the sheep, and put the stone back upon the well's mouth in its place. And Yaakov said unto them, my brethren, whence are ye? And they said, of Haran are we. And they said unto him, know ye Laban the son of Nahor? And they said, we know. And he said unto them, is all well with them? And they said, it is well. And behold, Rachel his daughter cometh with the sheep.
Now that's natural. You go into a new place, people got to fill you out. You got to fill people out. So that little Q&A is supposed to happen. You know so-and-so, you got to name drop sometimes. You got to know if you're at your destination. So he found out that, yeah, he's around people that know now. Then he got the seal when Raquel rolled up on the well. Tumshi.
7. And he said, lo, it is yet high day, neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together. Water ye your sheep and go and feed them. And they said, we cannot, until all the flocks be gathered together. And they rolled a stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. While he was yet speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she tended to them. And it came to pass, when Yaakov saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Yaakov went near and rolled a stone from the well's mouth, and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother.
Now, I don't know what it was with Yaakov, but he didn't waste time. Some people say he did it because of Rachel. I think he did it because he has a work ethic that a lot of people in that atmosphere don't have. Now we gotta wait till everybody comes. I don't got time for this. I just went all the way running from my brother. Let's do this. I don't got time. And that's the way some people, and you can see that even in the past. Yaakov was a man about his business. Sell me your birthright. Who thinks about stuff like that? So, but he's about his business. Sell me your birthright. Sell it to me. What does the birthright matter now when I just want some food?
Right.
Sell me a birthright. If it's not important to you, then why don't you just sell it? But that's the way the man of this, he was on point. He's about his business. That's the way his mind thinks. And you can understand why he got the blessing. You have to think about Esau and if the blessing actually fit him as an individual. Would it fit a personality type like that, since we talking about personality types? Think about how Yaakov, he had to be patient, understanding. If Esau had to deal with Laban, Esau would have killed him, his brothers, probably killed his wives, his own kids. That's the way his personality is. Because it wasn't about, Esau thought he got gypped out of money and power. This blessing is not about money and power. This blessing was about being the sons and the representatives of God on earth. This is not a job that you could have done, Esau. You understand it. If you read this book intensely, you understand that this is not Esau's portion. It was never meant to be his portion. That's why Rebecca, she understood. There's some things that the man don't understand because they're not going through it. And I want y'all to understand this. I don't ask y'all to feel my pain concerning certain situations. Right? When I get up and talk and I say something, you can't feel my pain because you didn't go through what I went through.
Right.
But I need you to empathize and sympathize sometimes. I need you to understand that my healing process may not be the same as everybody else's healing process. And you can't tell me how to heal and be the victimizer at the same time. That can't happen. It's not fair. Because there's some people that didn't sacrifice as much, and some people that didn't get embarrassed, and some people went through a lot. Without apology, without nothing to show. This is what it is.
Yeah.
So when it comes back and we start to understand how we're supposed to work, the things that I've learned in life is I know not to treat people the way some people treated me. Because it wasn't godly. And if this is part of the problem in our culture, is that we adapt the evil that people practice against us. Because we think that, well, that's power. Aggression is power.
Yes.
So then you start being an aggressive person. I can't do that. Because God says otherwise. Proverbs tell you not to envy, not to violate a man and choose none of his ways. So you know that that's not behavior that he likes.
That's right.
He don't like us threatening one another. Telling me you ain't going to smack me in my face. It's not going to happen. Without a repercussion.
That's a fact.
So I leave the threats out. I don't threaten nobody. I don't walk on the street threatening nobody. I'm not the all else person. That's not me. Because God is in control. Those are people who feel like they need to control every damn thing. Excuse me. They need to control everything. When you feel that you need to have control and don't let God do his thing, you become a psychopath because you need to have God runs it. Sometimes the problem that we had, like Saul had a problem, he didn't understand that you didn't need to listen to what the people said. God is in the matter.
Right.
If God said destroy everything, God knows what he's talking about. God ain't gonna give you no bad direction. Nah, Samuel, the people said, the soldiers said, you're the king. You got the order. You're supposed to tell them what to do. So when you got that order and Shaul didn't want to listen and came up with excuses of why he wanted to do what he felt like doing, God took away things from him.
Right.
Because he didn't listen to the Most High God. Brothers and sisters, God comes first. I love you. You love your wife. You love your husband. You love your children. You love your family. You love your brothers and your sisters. But God comes first.
Amen.
He comes first.
Amen.
So there's nothing that you can do to disobey him to satisfy another protocol or desire that somebody else has.
Right.
Amen.
can't. You can't satisfy somebody else and disobey God and disrespect God.
Don't work.
So I'm going to break the Shabbat to satisfy my son. I'm going to eat swine to satisfy my husband. It don't work.
Don't work.
So what will happen is God will destroy you and them. Because there's something that's coming between you and the Most High God. So those things have to be alleviated. Or else you can't worship him. Because he said, shall have no other gods before him. No other gods before him. Nothing can get in the way of your relationship with God. Nothing. Tamshi.
11. And Yaakov kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Yaakov told Rachel that he was his father's brother, that he was a father's brother, and that he was Rebekah's son.
No, he did that backwards. He was supposed to tell her that first and then kiss her, but he really liked her. Tamshi.
And she ran and told her father.
Right.
And it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Yaakov, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him into the house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said unto him, surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him in the space of a month.
Everything is good now.
Yes.
Everything is live now. He's talking, yeah. You know, my aim was good. It was good. You got the thing. And Yaakov, Yitzchak is good. And everybody's good. And everybody's well. And I came here, whatever. And everybody's doing good. And everything is fine. It's been a long time. I got you. You know, I never seen y'all before, whatever. But we hear that y'all doing. All that stuff is happening. They're eating and fisting. And then bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Man, you know, you family. You family, brother. You family, brother. That's right, brother. And you were from a long journey. You finding comfort. You sucking all it up. You sucking all of it in. You family.
A lot of blessings come with you.
Tamshi. I don't want to give it away. Tamshi.
And it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Yaakov, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him. Oh, speak up. 14. No, 15. Speak up. Yes, absolutely. I apologize. And Laban said unto Yaakov, because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be?
Now, sometimes men talk like that and they really mean what they say.
Right.
Sometimes men talk like that and they got something up their sleeve. Tamshi.
16. Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. And Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was beautiful form.
Now,
to look upon.
And I don't want you to give the impression that I don't know that they didn't say anything about Leah's body or whatever the case may be. But imagine needing glasses in a time where glasses wasn't invented. It's rough. She had weak eyes. You know, maybe she had to look and squint every time she looked at something, whatever. But at the same time, that wasn't a fault. It didn't destroy her virtue as an individual. Right. But I want to get into later what the issue was with Leah. The reason why it was said that she was hated. But the book clearly described that Rachel was fine. Right. Not that she just was pretty, but she's pretty and she had a Coke bottle body. She was like, you know, and book don't talk like that too much. This is the first time you hear that she had a form. She was fair. She had a beautiful form. Like, you know, like everything was in the right place. So it was like, ta-da. But I know some of us, we learned our lesson. Everything that glitters ain't gold. Tamshi. 18.
And Yaakov loved Rachel. He said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel. I am the daughter. Straight to the point. And God said, it is better that I give unto thee than that I should give her to another man abide with me. And Yaakov served 7 years for Rachel. And they seemed unto him but a few days.
Yo, love has that effect on you, man. It has that effect on you. Like, you know, I would call it more infatuation, and he got to learn to love her. But, you know, the fact that he saw her and his heart was just towards her, that 7 years was nothing. You know, but you got to think about it. This is an investment. She's going to be my wife. I'm going to have kids. 7 years is nothing. You know, and I'm coming without a dowry. So I can just work off and work, and I can get this woman, and you know what? He probably worked Yaakov like a slave. Like a slave. Like a slave. And you know this man has sons. You don't read nothing about his sons. You read about Yaakov working another year, working again. But sometimes you gotta watch these people because they know where their blessings come from. They don't admit it. They know who the people at work and put their energy and their heart towards things. Tamshi.
For the love he had for her. 21. And Yaakov said unto Laban, give me my wife.
Repeat that, brother.
Give me my wife.
He demanded his wife. And you know what? He worked 7 years for her. And he had nothing. You know what I'm talking about. He had nothing. He was waiting for her. He had nothing. And he been working for 7 years. Getting to know this, looking on her face, just waiting for the day. Give me my wife. I know y'all brothers know what that feels. Give me my wife. I ain't had no premarital nothing. Give me my wife. I worked hard for her. Tamshi.
For my days are fulfilled. I may go into her.
My time is done. He talking to him like a man. Like, listen, Tamshi.
And Laban gathered all the men of the place and made a feast.
No.
And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to him, and he went into her. And Laban gave Zilpah his handmaid unto his daughter Leah for a handmaid. And it came to pass in the morning that, behold, it was Leah. And he said unto Laban, what is this thou hast done unto me? Didn't I serve thee for Rachel? Wherefore hast thou beguiled me?
You know how angry? Listen, but you have to understand when you give your word to a man and you back up on their word, people have the right to be angry with you because they sacrificed their life and dedication for what you promised.
That's right.
And you break your word and you stand before, people stand before and pray and that don't mean nothing no more. Your prayer before God don't mean nothing if you can't keep your word.
That's right.
Amen.
That's right.
Holy what? Righteous what?
Nah.
Keep your word.
Right.
Because you don't got to do nothing. Nobody asked you to go across the river to get nothing. Nobody asked you to bring back 2,000 foreskins. Nobody asked you for nothing crazy like that. Just keep your word.
Exactly. Right.
That's all you got to do.
Speak the truth.
Your word is your bond. That's how we have a relationship.
That's right.
And if there's something that happened where you can't, because it happens in life. There's things that may come up where you can't keep your word.
Tell the truth.
Some things, then be honest about it. This is the situation, and not to understand it, because that's where my mercy comes into play.
Right. Exactly.
Brother, I can't give you that money because I'm getting evicted tomorrow, or this is going on, or whatever the case may be. You don't give God's people your behind the kiss and think it's going to be okay. Some of us just ain't that soft.
That's right.
Some of us ain't that soft. We ain't built that way. The kindness that you were given, it should have been respected. But if you don't appreciate it, then you're not going to get it no more. And that's with everything in life. You got kids that give you their behind the kiss? You get out of my house. Get out of my house. No, don't go in the refrigerator and get no juice.
Don't pack
Don't be packing nothing. Ain't talking about I gotta drain it out. No. I'm sparing you by even letting you keep the clothes you got on. But the other clothes that's in the closet, you not having those either because they're still mine.
That's right.
I got the receipts to show you, boy.
That's right.
And don't talk about making up a bed because that's not your bed no more. And you ain't responsible for nothing here no more.
Nope. Put down that coat.
Put down the coat. Do what you gotta do. Whatever. You know, everything, man. I took back TV. I took back all the video games, whatever. I even took back the weed you bought with your allowance that I gave you. Think I ain't know about that? But this is the nature of relationships.
Yes, right.
Love, reciprocation of love and respect. You honor people
Amen.
if you want honor.
That's right.
Yeah.
You respect people if you want respect.
Amen.
If you, for years, if you're hostile with me and I gave you a pass after, if I give you a pass, then you can't ask nothing more from me if I would give you a pass.
Okay.
I was trying to give you a pass for respect and mercy and love. But if you even wore out the pass,
You're the problem.
I'm not the issue.
That's right.
There's things that people have to learn. And listen, self-edification is not a bad thing. Look in the mirror every day.
Right.
Every day and fix self.
Right.
Because that sense of entitlement, that false sense of entitlement that some of our sick-minded brothers and sisters have, where you feel like you're God's gift to the earth and that you are owed everything,
Teach us.
it becomes toxic and problematic amongst a group of people in order for us to cooperate. How can we cooperate if our reward is not righteousness, or not through righteousness, or if it's through privilege? Like, I have to have blue blood in order to be special in this world. Then this is not the time for you. Because the God's people, you know what? How we going to come? We're going to come from the projects.
That's what they're going to come.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to come from the gutter.
That's right.
We're going to come from HRA, waiting on lines. We're going to come from the shelter. We're going to come from being Crips and Bloods. And we ain't going to come perfect like you blue bloods.
That's right. That's right. Teach that.
We're going to come fatherless and motherless,
Teach that.
parentless.
Fabulous.
We're going to come from being abused. We ain't going to have it all.
That's right.
We're going to come from Jamaica walking around without shoes on and just got to play.
Teach.
We're going to come running from stuff. So no, we ain't going to come the way you like. We're going to come the way God has us.
Right.
And if you can understand that, then you understand how to fix God's people. Because, you special, you know. We ain't going to come special. We're going to come special needs, but we ain't going to come special. Tum sheet.
26. And Laban said, "It's not done so in our place."
So why you ain't tell me in the first place?
To give the younger before the firstborn.
So why you ain't tell me in the first place? If this is your intent, if you had a special rule, maybe you should have put me down with that rule before I asked for Raquel. But it's after that. We don't do that here in this place, whatever. How can I respect that? How can I respect you changing the game in the ninth inning? You don't do stuff like that. That's not cool. And then you want my respect after that. Tum sheet.
Listen, just fulfill the week of this one. and we'll give you the other one for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet another 7 years.
So this is part of the problem. And if you read later on, we're going to read later on that they wasn't too kind to their father. They respected him, but you can see how they feel. Like, you trying to get rid of Leah. Like, okay, we going to do something because Raquel he going to lose something. You're going to lose a worker. Then Leah's going to be there, but how am I going to marry Leah off? Maybe he thought that she wasn't going to get married, whatever, but he's taking advantage of Yaakov now. He's starting early, too. You know what I'm saying? Like, 7 years already. I mean, when you have this thing planned, that means you're already taking advantage of the person.
Right.
So if a person dedicated 7 years, that was 7 years of being taken advantage of.
Right.
So please understand that. It's like, I went to jail for a crime I didn't commit. I'm going to be bitter.
Right.
Right? Because I served time it'd be one thing if I actually did the crime. Some things I just got to swallow, right? Like, I did it. I stole, I got caught with the drugs, I did whatever the case. You got to swallow it.
Yeah.
If you didn't do it, I got caught up, I walked up somewhere and I was in the bar and they caught me and all of a sudden they charged me with a murder I didn't commit. So this is the funny world. Donald Trump, he wrote some inflammatory things about the Central Park 5. No, but I'm back in the days. But the thing is, he never apologized for it. Right? They were found totally not guilty. Right? After they did their crime. Number one, you have to pay them. Because they always talk about not paying them. Like if there was certain administration here, they wouldn't have paid them no money. I'm Facebook friends with two of them on Facebook. And what I noticed is that, like, you know, one time Ben did something for the Central Park 5. We did the viewing of the what's the name of the movie, the documentary, and then Yusef Salam came out and spoke. You know Yusef Salam, he's the dark brother that was tall. So he was saying, like, you know, just from his experience, you know, the blessing that God has given him, because he was able to still make a career for himself despite the fact that he had this mark on his record. And he said, when we get the money, he said, we're not going to change. This is a fight for social justice. So we're not going to be on the beach sipping Mai Tais and, you know, he said, not all the time.
Yeah.
But he said, the work to do this fight is still within us, because these guys went in, they were kids, man, they were babies.
Yeah.
They were babies. And they talked about the experience when they came home. The other brother, the Spanish brother, came out, and he said he used to be in the house and he couldn't go outside for a while. Psychological. Couldn't go outside. He couldn't come out of his room because he's used to being in it. That's inside. He used to being inside, and the years of growing up in a certain culture, especially in pivotal years when your growth and your manners starts to come into play. He knows how to stay to himself, not get in no trouble, defend himself if something happens. That's his life. So you don't take away time from people, because we don't have time to spare.
Exactly.
Amen.
If you have an intent, put me down, because let me decide what my fate is going to be. Don't be a person that has a carrot and trying to lead me with a carrot. Because you know that my ambition is towards a certain thing. And then use me, or use anybody for years towards those things.
Teach us.
Towards your selfish agenda. That's unfair. It's been unfair. It always will be unfair.
Amen.
And you can't call yourself a just man before God and do things like that to people.
Teach us.
That's what's wrong. But you know us. We the guys that get another wife and take the TV out of the other wife home, put it in the new wife home. That's her TV. Why are you going to give her the TV? You're going to take it back. But, you know, we sick like that. We think like whatever is new is better. They don't work like that.
Amen.
Let me tell y'all something. You have to live a life, and I know that we don't get taught that here because we're American. Or American, whether you're from the West Indies, whatever, you're still American. It's the Americas. Right? When we were slaves, we learned value towards one another because of we were constantly being victimized. The adversary saw it. So there was these things that he invented called manumission laws. Manumission laws. Anybody that does anything in the service of a white person, whether they made them more money, made them free, whatever, it began to reward culture that was divisive towards your community. That's why it's sad. We have a high level of people who are treacherous amongst us, but we have a high punishment for people who practice treachery. We don't like snitches. We don't like people that sell out. We don't like people that take advantage. But at the same time, we practice it too much. It's part of the ill dynamic of black culture. I'm trying to dig my head around it sometimes, but this is us. You know, we are the people that will pray to God, ask for mercy and stuff like that, and do cruel and insensible things to one another. It's crazy, but we do things like this. You know, it's like Greenleaf. Bishop Greenleaf, they be manipulating, and the other guy, they manipulate all the time. And you know what they say? It's not my plan. This is God's plan. And this is us. We think that we put a righteous coat on something and it makes it okay.
Right.
Yeah.
When you strip all of that down, take away all of the turbans, the ZZs, the long skirts, all of that stuff, you see what's going on, you're a criminal. It's just the facades that look nice. The facades look nice. They come nice. But when you strip it down to the essence of what you're doing, you're just a common liar or a common thief. It ain't special. But this is us. This is the same people. We'll still walk into Sunday Mass knowing that the Catholic Church molests little boys. This is us. And we say, that's not all. That's not all of this. That's not all of the institution is messed up.
Teacher, that's what it is.
When the institution gets fixed, then you can walk back. But the institution has a problem. That means that there were people that saw what happened, people told, and that people buried it under the rug. So when I'm telling you something, I'm not telling you as a liar, as a person that's looking for attention. I'm telling you to warn you. You can do what you want to do. Because it's on you.
Right.
But don't look at me sideways because there's things that I don't accept as a man. Because there's things that I will never accept. I'm not telling you I'm perfect.
Right.
But I know enough that that's not right. Tamshi.
28. And Yaakov did so, and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel, his daughter, to wife.
You know what that had to feel like? A week of, let's hurry up. That's all it was. Because I'm just fulfilling a week for something else. There's no love, time, and attention really being paid towards me. You know, I'm just really buying time so I can get what I really want. Tamshi.
29. And Laban gave to Rachel, his daughter, Bilhah, his handmaid, to be her handmaid. And he went in unto Rachel, and he loved Rachel more than Leah, and served him yet another 7 years. And Jehovah saw that Leah was hated, and he opened up her womb, but Rachel was barren.
Did it say that she was disliked? Did it say that he wasn't treating her too fairly? She was hated.
Right.
I want to make you understand why Yaakov hated her. Because she represented the deceit of Laban. That's the reason why. And it wasn't fair to her. Forget about Yaakov at this point. It wasn't fair to her. And she's going to mention that later on. Both of them are going to talk about it. But it wasn't fair to her. Nobody likes to be treated that way. So this is the problem that we have. Yes, Laban, he had the authority. But you have to take care of your daughter, man.
That's right.
Because that's your daughter. Her love and her future, it should be important to you. How she feels as a woman should be important to you. You give her away as a trick. How somebody feel like that? You don't feel like I'm a trick. That's all I am. I'm being given away as a scheme in your plot to get more money. Like you prostituting me, I'll be like, for the most part, you just dealing me off like I ain't nothing. So if he hates me, I can't be upset with him because I represent the deceit. I represent your corruption. He got to look in my face and knowing every time he sees me that he got ripped off.
Right.
But there's something special about Leah. Let's read that.
32. And Leah conceived and bore a son. And she called his name Reuben. For she said, because Jehovah have looked upon my affliction, for now my husband will love me.
So it's funny, but every time she named her initial sons, she said because of Yah. So whatever it was, she started to understand, maybe because of her plight, her sorrow, the things she was dealing with, she leaned towards more Jehovah. And you'll even see it later on when she names the last one before she stopped bearing, but Tamshi.
33. And she conceived again and bore a son, and said, because Jehovah have heard that I am hated, he has therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Shimon.
Jehovah heard me. That means she was praying.
Yeah.
She was praying to Yah. She was praying that something had to fix the situation. And you know, when you get sons, it's a different feeling, man, because it's like you see your posterity, right? You know, boom. Because it's important to have kids, right? God curses the person with childlessness. So if you have daughters, don't go crazy and stuff like that. You got to see them as earth. It's a blessing. You will be here. But your sons give you your name, right? boom, his name's gonna be around, man. There's gonna be more, you know. And then they're workers, right? They come, but you gotta, yeah, some of them are workers. And you gotta see, now, I want y'all to understand something. Laban is looking at all this now too. Oh, he had another boy. He was scheming. Yeah. I'm growing. That's the way he thinks. He thinks all of this is his.
Right.
He's a possessive, narcissistic individual. He don't understand that God is enlarging this man. He's not doing it for your sake. Tumshi.
34. And she conceived again and bore a son, and said, now this time my husband will be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. 3! Therefore,
Back to back. Go ahead. That's right. Oh, the Levites was like, yeah. We here. Tumshi. Levi's here. Tumshi.
therefore was his name called Laban.
That's right.
And she conceived again, and bore a son. Chapter 30, verse 1.
No, man, you gotta give the king his due, man. Let's do this, man. I understand, though.
And bore a son. And she said, this time I will praise Jehovah. Therefore she called his name Yehuda.
This was the most powerful named child. This was the most powerful named child. I'm not trying to coat anybody's ego and all of that stuff. But I'm telling you, because, you know, if you get a chance to, if you look at the metaphysical meanings of some of these names, go get a Hebrew chart, go look at the original interpretation or meaning of each letter in their names. It is almost exactly what Yaakov blessed them with later on down in Genesis. With Reuben. Reuben is the head. He said, you the first of my strength, first of my house, whatever. That's what his name breaks down as. If you look at Levi, Levi is the authority that joins men unto the Creator. That's what his name breaks down as, and that's what he is. He's the joiner between us and the Most High. If you look at Yehuda's name, she says, this time I will praise Jehovah. And his name kind of breaks down as, this is the way to praise Yah. So it's kind of deep. But his name was very powerful because it was like almost, this is unequivocal. My God is God. This is what it is. You know, because sometimes y'all come inside this way of life and, first year, it's an experiment to you. And it's natural because you're trying to find your way in it. So as a woman, she's trying to find, this is my husband's thing. I'm used to teraphim and stuff like that. That's what she knows. But now she's going into the mode of worshiping and whatever. And now when he's born, after the 3 sons, and another one came out, it's like, it's a wrap. He's God. He's my God. He says, this time, I praise you. I means that it's not going to be, Yaakov, can you say a prayer for me? Whatever. Nah, like, we have a personal relationship now. And this is something that she's establishing with the birth of this child. Tumshi.
Chapter 30, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And when Rachel saw that she bore Yaakov,
woo! This is why you don't marry sisters. Go ahead, brother.
Rachel envied her sister. And she said unto Yaakov, give me children or else I die.
Let me tell you something, man. She wasn't lying about that.
Yes.
Like, another one? Another boy? That's my husband. He went for me. And she's not wrong. And she gonna call this man like, and this is how we don't understand that these things come from God. Right? Because we coming from a human point of view, and she's in her emotions. She's in her feelings right now. So she's coming to Yaakov like, you spitting out forward her, and I have none. I don't got a daughter. I don't got nothing. She said, give me children, like, not lest I die, but what is my life worth if I can't have kids? Because kids, there's a childbearing time for women. They don't have forever. So if their heart and the desires towards having kids, they want to have kids in the time they have kids. Because Because she ain't going to have that opportunity the rest of her life. And women want children. Excuse me. Some women want children. Look, we live in America now. Things is crazy. You know what I mean? So I ain't going to speak for everybody. But back then, it was very important. In our culture, Eastern culture, African culture, it was important to have kids. Regardless of man or not, you wanted a man so you can reproduce. Because it's a natural thing in your body that makes you want to reproduce. So she wanted kids. And she seen her sister spit out these kids like, lazy eye Leia, got all these kids? Are you serious? Are you serious? And you know, listen, and she's coming from a perspective of, she was probably putting in some work. Y'all know what I'm talking about. She was probably putting in some work. And nothing's coming out of it. Always, any type of, putting in some work. And nothing's happening. It gets you upset. Then you see her like, my goodness gracious, 4 boys back to back. Like I can't see this dude no more because she got 4 kids. So she stepped to him because she think he the problem. Which happened? Exactly what happens. Like I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. What you doing? And you know him. You know I ain't the problem. I know that, but I ain't the problem here. It ain't me. You see my work. Come shit.
2. And Yaakov's anger was kindled against Rachel. And he said, am I in the stead of God, who have withheld from thee the fruit of the womb?
I know that I heard her, but she needed to hear it. Some shit.
And she said, look, behold, my maid Bilhah, go into her, and she will bear upon my knees, and I will also be built up through her. And she gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife. And Yaakov went in unto her, and Bilhah conceived, and bore Jacob a son.
So now definitely he ain't the problem. Excuse me.
Yes.
Definitely ain't the problem. But you gave me a handmaid, still worked. Some shit.
And Rachel said, God hath judged me, and have also heard my voice, and given me a son. Therefore she called his name Dan.
We here, man. We here. But it's very important because it showed her that her prayers weren't in vain either.
Right.
Tumshi.
And Rachel said, no. 7. And Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, conceived again.
Oh, Jacob is on a roll.
And
Go
bore
ahead.
Yaakov a second son.
Oh.
And Rachel said, with mighty wrestlings have I wrestled with my sister, and have prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali.
So now she has 2. Dan and Naphtali. Right? But those 2 represent her struggle. Right? Struggle that she's dealing with, struggle with her trying to, because it's hard. Women don't like being barren. It's a hurtful feeling because you do feel, but you notice that the Most High God, he does that with the righteous women for some reason. Like he gives them something to work towards. Give them something to pray towards. Gives the man understanding that he's still God and he's in the picture, and that at the end of the day, it is he who grants us these gifts of life. Because you know what? When these children are born, when Yitzchak was born, you know, you're talking about 2 people who gave up on having kids. And the blessing was that Sarah was an old woman that was going to be lively again, and her body's going to start working again, and she's going to start getting her cycle again, and she's going to start having milk in her breast. She's going to have all of these things to make her a fertile woman again, which is unheard of. So when that boy was born, yeah, he was a spoiled brat. He was supposed to be. Because he was the son of prophecy. He was a son of promise. And not to say that he was spoiled and bad, but he came out like, yeah, this is the one. Ishmael, get out of here. This is the one.
That's right. Silver spoon.
But things changed when God said, now, take that one and sacrifice it. So now you see the importance this is something that he was the treasure, he was promised, and now what I gave you, give it back.
Right.
And the fact that you have a man that's willing to do that, that in his heart he reciprocated to God what God had given him, that man was amazing. So now you see the value of why sometimes you have to wait and pray. Now you see the value of why Rebecca, she had to wait because she was barren, and there was something going on that was a little bit different for your circumstance than other people. You got pregnant, and these dudes is in your stomach fighting. It's like something that's unheard of. You know, people just they move, and sometimes they give you a little bit of pain and stuff like that. But for the most part, you know, in the womb they eat and they sleep. When they active, they active. It is what it is. But she thought that she was gonna die. That's how rough it was. Like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep. God said, this is what's going on with you. There's two nations within your womb. They brothers, but they ain't the same. He said the younger shall rule over. So this was something that always kept in her mind. And as I said, Yitzchak can't understand that because he's not dealing with it. He can only empathize with her. Yeah, I understand. You hurt. Come here, baby. That's what he can do. But he don't understand because he don't feel that pain. I don't know what it's like to have kids. Right. No brother inside here knows what it's like to have kids. Right. They come in the world, and sometimes the sisters got to get cut across, cut down, cut this, whatever. But they want that child to be out of here. They want that child to live. Right. And we empathize, and we holding on, and she's gripping us like this, like all that. But we're not on that table. So even I go through stuff with baby mamas and stuff like that, I respect the fact that you have my seed. Right. I gotta respect that. As a man, I respect that because that's no easy thing. I may curse you out later, but I respect it. It's a joke.
When Leah saw that she had left off bearing, she took Zilpah her handmaid and gave her to Yaakov to wife. And Zilpah Leah's handmaid bore Yaakov a son. And Leah said, fortune is come. And she called his name God.
So this is a funny thing. I know we live in a world, battle of the sexes world, stuff like that. I know there's issues, you know, and I clearly understand the issues that we have with polygamy because we're not too sane as a people. So some things we just don't do right. We don't do our one marriage right. So we need help, right? So, but, you know, this is the woman, because of the sake of this company, they giving Yaakov wives that he didn't ask for. He's doing it because of this competition. Remember, he asked for one wife. He asked for one wife. So sometimes we want to take on the responsibility. If you could, it's fine. But this man got trouble for asking for one wife. And because of a sneaky uncle, wound up getting two. And because of their situation and their rivalry, wound up getting four. She gave Zilda a wife in here. Because I ain't working no more and I don't want her just to be standing around having kids and, you know, even though I stopped. So Zilpah's in the play now. Tumshi.
Well, and Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, bore Yaakov a second son. And Leah said, happy am I, for the daughters will call me happy, and she called his name Asher.
Amen.
And Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest, and found mandrakes in the field, and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said unto Leah, give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes. And she said unto her, is it a small matter that thou hast taken away my husband? Wouldst thou take away my son's mandrakes also? And Rachel said, yeah. Therefore he my son's mandrakes. And Yaakov came in from the field at even. And Leah went out to meet him and said, thou must come unto me. I have surely hired thee with my son's mandrakes. And he lay with her that night.
You see this man is being turned into a piece of meat? Like, I know his first was like, nah, you got conquers. I made a deal with some mandrakes. Now, mandrake was supposedly, some apple or whatever, something like a fruit, like an apple, supposed to be a love charm, aphrodisiac, whatever the case may be. But with all this stuff, You know, if it makes you feel good at the end of the day, that's cool. But God is in this.
Amen.
Mandrakes ain't doing nothing. Tamshik.
17. And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived, and bore Yaakov a fifth son.
Oh.
And Leah said, God has given me my hire, because I gave my handmaid to my husband, and she called his name Yissaschar. And Leah conceived again.
We here, Prince. Tamshik.
And bore a sixth son to Yaakov. And Leah said, God have endowed me with a good dowry. Now my husband will dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. And she called his name
Zavulun. Amen.
And afterwards she bore a daughter, and called her name Dinah. And God remembered Rachel. And God hearkened unto her, and opened her womb, and she conceived, and bore a son. And said, God has taken away my reproach.
Ooh, you see, she called herself a reproach. This is how bad she felt by not having kids. That God taking away I'm looking like everybody else has had. The first one had kids. The one I gave him had kids. The one she gave him had kids. And I'm the only one stuck without children. So she feels real bad. But God has remember her. That means that she prayed. And God heard her. Tamshik.
24. And she called his name Yosef, saying, Yehovah, add to me another son. And it came to pass, when Rachel had borne Yosef, that Yaakov said unto Laban, send me away, that I may go to my own place and to my own country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served, and let me go. For thou knowest my service, wherewith I have served thee. And Laban said unto him, if now I have found favor in thy eyes, I have observed the signs, and Yehovah has blessed me for thy sake. And he said, appoint me thy wages, and I will give it.
He's lying. He's lying. And this is the problem with Laban. Laban is saying all the right things, but he's a liar. Tamshik.
29. And he said unto him, thou knowest how I have served thee, and how thy cattle have fed with me. For it was little which thou hadst before I came, and it hath increased abundantly, and Yehovah has blessed thee, whithersoever I turn.
Now you think that Yaakov was bragging? Some people may think he's bragging. Some people think that he's being self-righteous now, that he's being pompous. But this is what happens. There's sometimes men try to undermine your contribution to the good things that have happened.
Talk about it.
And
Talk about it.
right, and as an individual that has done work, you have to stand up for yourself. When you go before a job and you have a resume inside your hand, they want you to talk about what you did at that last job. How are you going to be beneficial to this company? He's trying to make it seem like, I know what you did. I know that God has blessed. I'm blessed because of you and stuff like that. But Yaakov was trying to state the case that I deserve to go because I put in some good work here. I put in work that I didn't get acknowledged for. If I didn't step to you about it, you wouldn't have even talked about this situation.
Right.
You would have just let me go on and just do whatever. But sometimes there's people that, they just go off and they treat you like you haven't done nothing to make what they have great.
That's right.
I remember when there was an assassination attempt. It wasn't even an attempt, we didn't even get that far, but Malcolm X's daughter was talking to the FBI agent, and the FBI, the person that she was talking, she thought it was an assassin, but it was an FBI agent, and supposedly they said that she was trying to pay her money to kill Farrakhan. And then there was a big meeting after that. There was a big meeting between Malcolm's family, the Nation of Islam at the time, and there was also an interview that happened with Malcolm's firstborn and Minister Farrakhan on Channel 2. And part of the reason why they had this climate is because they said they looked up to Farrakhan like he was an uncle. They remember this man coming to the house, and so when you say these inflammatory things about my father, I'm not saying that it was right to try to assassinate you, but you got to understand how they feel. My father's dead, and you on the mosque and calling him a traitor, they gonna feel a way about that. That stuff, that's energy that's going to happen, that this inherited trauma that they feeling, because remember, they were there when their father got killed.
Right. Exactly.
Amen.
So that's something that's not going to erase out of their mind. And what Betty said was this. Late Betty Shabazz. She said what she wants was to make sure that her husband's contributions to the nation are not forgotten. Because what you try to do is, oh, he's a traitor, we're going to erase what he's done to make this thing great. She's like, nah, she wants his contributions because remember, he sacrificed his life to build that organization. So you're not going to just run and erase his name like he ain't done nothing because of mishaps and whatever and because there was some falling outs. So this is important why he stands up for himself and says what he says. You know the work I put in to make this. So before I came, man, you ain't have nothing. You and your bum sons, y'all wasn't doing nothing to make nothing happen. So when I came here, I worked. I made this place great, man. Don't do me like that.
Talk about it.
That's what I said. So when he comes and goes, you can't look at Yaakov sideways because he has his complaints about stuff because you're going to try to use me and not give me my just due. Let me go. Don't sit there and have me here working for you for the rest of my life. You good now. I made sure you was good. I built up your house, man. Do me better than that. And that's all we saying. That's all we saying. We put too much work in for you to smack me in my face. Spit on my integrity. You don't do that. That's not what brothers do in honor of brothers. Even if we have disagreements and fallouts. You see what this is? What this symbol means? This symbol means life. Right? So when you talk about what life is, I don't want you to always think about life as in terms of life and death. Life means energy. Positive energy. That I could come before you, I could shake your hand, and I know that that's something that's really there. That's life. The opposite of life is not just death. It's anger, it's aggression, it's hostility, it's lies, it's deceit. Because death is not just there's things that lead towards the road to death. Some of y'all, we always thinking that it's just, no. There's people that are dying right now, and you look at them and they zombies. Because of the way they act, the way they think, the things that they do. They are in the atmosphere of death. They ain't physically dead yet, but none of us physically die before we die. Most of us, we lose our integrity, we lose our morals, we lose our understanding, and then we go. You know, you see people like, there's people like you see pass away, you're like, wow, that's a shock. Wow, Kim Porter died. She was 47 years old. She just laid down, went to sleep, whatever. Everybody's saying, but then there's people like, you know, wow, he was involved in this, he was involved in that, whatever. He got shot once before. If he passed away, it wouldn't be a surprise because he's already playing in that field. We don't play in that field. We don't want that field around us. We will fight to keep that field away from us. You call me what you want to call me. Stay out. Because I know the energy. The energy has to be right. The energy is not right, don't bring that energy around. That's what cancer is. You get sick, you get a malignant tumor, the tumor spreads. All you got to do is bring the bad energy inside. That's why God says you get the evil out of the midst of you. And you notice the more righteousness you practice, the more you find yourself around righteous people. The more wickedness you practice, the more you find yourself around wicked people. Most of us are always running in between. Which in essence makes us wicked because we're undecided. So you remember when Korah dated in the Bible, you had people that were just standing around trying to figure out what side they should be on. And we say, yeah, Korah's wrong. We read that now, but if you were there, whose side would you choose? You have to think about it. Because everybody's charismatic and got a good argument. And we like picking sides of people we like. We like our favorites. We don't like our people that are righteous. We like our favorites. Yeah, I know him for a long time. I'm going to rock with him. I know him for a minute. That's my man. He gave me $5 just last week. But is he right? And sometimes our determination towards our morality, our moral compass is off. And we think that we're good people. I understand. Well, we all think that we're good people. We ain't out there busting old ladies in the head and eating swine. We ain't doing those type of things. But it's sometimes the wickedness is not those things. It's our decision-making process is what gets us in trouble with God. It's the fact that you choose not to have conviction when a time when conviction is needed. That's why God is angry. Tamshi.
And now when shall I provide for my own house also? 31.
Right.
And he said, so what shall I give? And Yaakov said, thou shalt give me aught. Thou shalt not give me aught. If thou wilt do this thing, I will again feed thy flock and keep it. I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence every speckled and spotted one, and every dark one among the sheep, and every spotted and speckled among the goats. And of such shall be my height. So shall my righteousness witness against me hereafter, when thou shalt come to look over my hire that is before thee, every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and dark among the sheep, that if it be found with me, shall be counted stolen.
Tamshi.
And Laban said, behold, put it might be according to thy word. And he removed that day the he-goats that were streaked and spotted, and all the she-goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had whited, and all the dark ones among the sheep, and gave them into the hand of his son.
So you know what dishonesty is? Dishonesty is not just lying. It's the absence of truth.
Correct.
Please understand that. I ain't lie to you. You wasn't honest with me, brother.
Exactly.
You don't got to tell a deliberate lie in order to be a liar. This man made an agreement, and what he did was so he don't have to honor the agreement, went and his sneaky sons took all the sheep that he know that he had to give Yaakov. This is what I'm talking about. And, you know, in some people's eyes, they call this intelligence. I've seen people that they think that personal ambition and deceit for gain is intelligence. I want you to stop thinking so capitalistic and American. Yeah, because they think that, these companies in America, a lot of them were built off of blood and slavery.
Yes.
Right? And they make laws in order to protect themselves of the fact that they have dirty money. It's the drug dealers mentality. Drug dealers think that way. And it's hard for me to understand why you got so much problems with people selling drugs. When y'all practice the same corruption, because opium wasn't illegal in this country for a long time. Cocaine, all this stuff. Marijuana. I'm not saying it's cool. What I'm saying is the hypocrisy of this country that when they want things to be wrong, it's wrong. When they want it to be right, it's right. Usually when it's white, it's all right. Now marijuana is good. Stock market. I got a marijuana dispensary company now. Yeah, but people did a lot of time in jail for a roach. For a roach. Y'all don't know what roach is. They're a roach. He got caught with a certain amount of weed and all of a sudden his life is gone. But now the white community can, and what I've noticed too, I remember I was rocking with my brother Don Rule one day, and this was years ago, we was in NYU. We was in West 4th, the park. I saw one of my mans I went to school, he was like, yo, what's up? We was chilling, boom, 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 right? So I just paid attention to the atmosphere, and I said, they allow these kids here to smoke freely without consequence. I just peeped it one time because I just like, why am I just smelling weed all over the place like it's free? Because it was free. And the dealer is right there and it's good, but everything is all good because you're protecting white lives. Just like now with the opioid epidemic, the cops have to carry on that EpiPen and all of that stuff to protect them when they die and overdose. But, you wasn't giving us rehab when we was on crack. You put us in jail, on top of the jail, under the jail, come out even worse. So I just want to make it clear that there's a bias when it comes to our survival.
Yes.
There's a bias when it comes to, so when we fight one another, we look like fools. Because they don't like us. They're trying to kill us. And we trying to kill us. So what chance do we have? And it's embarrassing because we have a future that should respect us, but stop looking for kids to respect you when you're not being respectful. We're not honoring them. We can't show, we can't cooperate, we can't get along, we dog each other out, and then we get mad at them at the same behaviors. I had to get upset one time because, you person was talking about their children not doing good in school, and you in the house smoking weed. There's nothing wrong with you smoking weed, but what example are you giving to the child that he can say, I can do this work? Because we are 70% motor, 70% physical. That verbal stuff is good. Me teaching is good, it's cute. But I have to be the song that I sing. I have to be an example because that's how we learn. Human beings learn by example. You don't teach a kid to hunt by giving them instructions inside the tent. Okay, this is what you're going to do. You take this bow, you take this arrow, and when you see it coming, you just go like this and whatever, but you got to make sure, it's too much. The mind doesn't digest that way. The mind just digests like, you do what I do. Shh, quiet, right there, release, boom, get it. Release a little bit, next time you messed up, but release a little bit this way because it's going to run that way. So you wanted to hit it as soon as, that's how you do it. But this is how we learn. So we look at our kids and we calling them bad. Our kids is messed up. My son got locked up. My son is this, whatever. Then look at you. Look at the example that you made. I remember one time when he was young, we got criticized for not having jobs. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, but, and we grew up, we did what we had to do. But I'm like, there's sometimes you have to think about the things you're telling people. Because some of us are too smart to just take it. I mean, we'll take it because out of respect, but think about that and like, okay, just, yeah. Let's process this for a second. If, it's just like on, what's that thing? American Gangsters, and she told her son, Luke, he said, Frank Lucas, he said, if your brothers, if you did this, your brothers would do this. If you were a doctor, your brothers would be a doctor. That's the way they see you. And that's the way we saw some people. This is what we would do because a lot of us don't have fathers. So I know for myself, if I want to see a better nation, I have to do better within myself. Whether they follow or not, but I have to be an example. I have to be somebody to say, well, he did what he was supposed to do, whatever the case. It's not that I'm going to be perfect at it. I'm going to fail but I'm going to try. I'm going to make that effort. I'm not going to talk like I'm there. Because some of us think we've arrived and we have not. This is a lifelong struggle. And we're still, some of us in here, 60-something, 70-something years old, and we're still working on ourselves. But that's what the Torah teaches. Torah don't teach that, you graduate at the age of 70 years old. It doesn't work that way. It's a lifelong struggle. Tamshi, let's talk about this guy again.
36.
Amen.
And he said 3 days' journey betwixt himself and Yaakov. And Yaakov fed the rest of Laban's flocks. And Yaakov took him rods of fresh poplar and the almond and of the plane tree, and peeled white streaks, and making the white appear which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had peeled over against the flocks and the gutters, and the watering troughs where the flocks came to drink, and they conceived when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived at the sight of the rods, and the flocks bore forth streaks speckled and spotted. And Yaakov separated the lambs. He also set the faces of the flocks toward the streets, and all the dark in the flock of Laban. And he put his own droves apart, and he put them not unto Laban's flock. And it came to pass, whensoever the strong of the flock did conceive, that Yaakov laid the rods before the eyes of the flock in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the flock were feeble, he put them not in. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Yaakov's. And the man increased exceeding, and had large flocks, and maid servants and men servants. And camels and asses.
Now, you may think this is a trick and that he's doing a counteraction, but it is a counteraction towards what he did, because remember, Laban wasn't living right. And he probably knew 80%, 90% that he was going to try to jerk him in some way, shape, or form. So he prepared himself by giving 3 days distance between him and Laban so that he can't see what he's doing. And let me tell you something, when you're working at something and you're industrious in this, you learn a thing or two. Who knows why he picked this up, but he was about his business. So you said, okay, I know what he's trying to do. I know what I'm going to do. Why? Because he had to protect himself. He didn't want to stay there forever. And he knew Laban wasn't going to let him go. So he had to do what he had to do to make sure that he can go out with some level of substance. Tamshi.
Chapter 31, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And heard the words of Laban's son saying, Yaakov has taken away all that was our father's.
Snitch.
And all that which was our father's had he gotten all his wealth.
Snitch.
And Yaakov beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before time.
So let me let you understand something. I know oftentimes we always have this proof is in the pudding stuff, but you have to understand energy, right? Like I said, when I told the brother about energy, we talked about Kai, shaking hands, you know what a pot of, you know what a bad energy is. You know when somebody's around you and all of a sudden they're looking at you sideways when they wasn't like that before. And you think that people are going to be comfortable in the atmosphere like that. I can't have peace in God's day knowing that you're scheming against me or there's an issue or whatever, but you're not saying nothing. So the worst thing is to have a problem with somebody and you're not open about it. That means you have no intent on solving that issue. You just coming in and you talking about me off the beamer and you throwing shots here and you trying to degrade people. This is what people do. Instead of saying, listen, this is what I feel in my heart, brother. Talk to you, you can't talk to me. I'm open to you, you can't be open to me. Because there's malicious intent. Yeah, I'm not going to talk to you if I'm about to stab you in the back. What sense does that make? The people don't do things like that. But you will feel that energy. And it's your job to protect yourself. Some people like, oh, you got to roll with punches. And nah, you do that. You do that. You got to know when people don't mean you're good. It's important as an adult. Yaakov's mother, Rebecca, said to him, you got to leave. Because that boy going to try to kill you. And then I'm going to kill him. So you know where Esau's spirit came from? His mother. But you got to understand that. That energy's not good. That's why you don't practice that. If you have a bad, I tell people, don't be just coming to Shabbat because you think you obligated to come here.
Right.
It's not fair for you to bring your spirit inside here. That's not right. That's attitude and whatever, because my spirit ain't like that. That's the cancer. You come here with a sincere heart. If you don't want to be here, don't come here. And you want me to digest all of that. Years, man. I'm born this way of life. There's people coming you say shalom to them, they slot your eyes at you, give you a funny claw. Just don't give me no call. Just don't walk through the door. If your spirit is that messed up, and you wait for me to come inside the doors for you to have an attitude with me, you could have called me way before, straightened it out before we came into God's day. We refuse. That's the things we have to change. That's the things we have to change because we have to move forward. And we only going to move forward with cooperation. Let me tell y'all something. I've never seen anybody in this nation get anointed. I've never seen no prophet come and pour oil on anybody's head. I've never seen a revelation what everybody's seeing God said. I've never seen nobody's staff grow almond buds. Never seen it. We're chosen together.
Right. Okay. Amen.
And if you understand that, then you will understand the work that you all collectively have to do to make this thing happen. Because it's not on one person. It's not on a group of individuals. This is a collective work of progress that we have to make happen in order for us to succeed as a people. So I know some of y'all are like, come in, I'm just sitting down and I'm reading and I'm listening to the teacher. But there's a job you have to do after you leave here. There's work you have to get done after you go. That's why God calls you. God don't call you here to be entertained. You could go anywhere to be entertained. I could be at the Apollo right now. But God calls us here to learn to do the work. You go to school in essence to get a job. That's why you go to college. That's why you graduate from high school, so you can work. And that's our job. Our job is to do God's will, his work in this earth. Not just to stand around and do nothing. I know it's cool. It's cool to be around and shake hands and we be good and we eat during the break. Hallelujah. But we got a job to do. Tamshik.
And Jehovah said unto Yaakov, return unto the land of thy fathers and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Yaakov sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field of the flock. And he said unto them, I see your father's countenance. That is not toward me as before time, but the God of my father hath been with me. And ye know that with all my power I have served your father. And your father hath mocked me and changed my wages 10 times, but God suffered him not to hurt me. If he said thus, the speckle shall be thy wages, then all the flock bore speckles. And if he said thus, the street shall be thy wages, then all the flock bore street. Thus God has taken away the cattle of your father and given them to me. And it came to pass at that time that the flock conceived, that I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the he-goats which leaped upon the flock were streaks, speckled and grizzled. And the angel of Jehovah came unto me in a dream and said, Yaakov. And I said, here am I. And he said, lift up now thine eyes and see the he-goats which leap upon the flocks are streaked and speckled and grizzled. For I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. I am the God of Bethel, where thou didst anoint the pillar, where thou didst vow a vow unto me. Now arise and get thee from out of this land and return unto the land of thy nativity. And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, is there yet any portion or inheritance with our father, with us in our father's house? Now are we not accounted to him as strangers? But he has sold us, and he hath also quite devoured our price. For all the riches which our God has taken away from our father, that is ours and our children's. Now then, whatsoever God has said unto thee, do. Then Yaakov rose up and set his sons and his wives upon camels. And he carried away all his cattle and all his substance which he had gathered. The cattle of his getting which he had gathered in Padan Aram to go into Yitzchak his father unto the land of Canaan.
Now, just to go back to what Rachel and Leah said to Yaakov, their husband, they basically told him, like, you know, are we not like we ride with Jews, so he looks at us funny too. And for all the riches which God had taken away from my father's house, and now, so are we not counted to him by strangers, for he hath sold us and have also quite devoured our price. That means he gave us away for money. He didn't care more about us, he cared more about profit. Tamshi.
Now Laban was going to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the teraphim that were her father's.
Bad move.
And Yaakov outwitted Laban the Aramean in that he told him not that he fled. So he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and he passed over the river and set his face toward the mountain of Gilead. And it was told Laban on the 3rd day that Yaakov was fled. And he took his brethren with him, and he pursued after him 7 days' journey, and he overtook him in the mountain of Gilead. And God came to Laban the Aramean in the dream of the night. And he said unto him, take heed to thyself, that thou speak not to Yaakov either good or bad. And Yaakov and Laban came with Yaakov.
He didn't listen, though. Tamshi.
Now Yaakov had pitched his tent in the mountain. And Laban with his brethren pitched in the mountain of Gilead. And Laban said unto Yaakov, what hast thou hast done? Thou hast outwitted me, and carried away my daughters as though they were captives of the sword.
Lying. Lying. Tamshi.
Wherefore didst thou flee secret, and outwit me, and didst not tell me that I might have sent thee away with myrrh, and with song, and with tabret and harp?
He's lying. He's mad because things didn't go the way he wanted them to go. Tamshi.
And didst not suffer me to kiss my sons and my daughters.
Lying.
Now thou hast done foolish. It is in the power of my hand to do you hurt. But the God of your father spoke to me yesternight, saying, give heed to thyself, that thou speak not to Yaakov either good or bad. And now that thou art surely gone, because thou so longest out of thy father's house, wherefore hast thou stolen my gods? And Yaakov answered and said to Laban, because I was afraid, For I said, lest thou shouldest take thy daughters away from me by force. With whomsoever thou findest thy gods, he shall not live. Before our brethren discern, thou wouldest dine with me, and take it to thee. For Yaakov knew not that Rachel had stolen them. And Laban went into Yaakov's tent and into Leah's tent and into the tent of the two maidservants, but he found them not. And he went out of Leah's tent and entered in Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the teraphim and put them on the saddle of the camel and sat upon them. And Laban felt around all about the tent, but found them not. And he said to her father, let not my lord be angry that I cannot rise up before thee. For the manner of women is upon me. And he searched, but found not the teraphim. And Yaakov was wroth, and strove with Laban. And Yaakov answered and said unto Laban, what is my trespass? And what is my sin that thou hast hotly pursued after me?
So they got into a big argument. Time sheet.
Whereas thou hast felt about all my stuff, and what hast thou found in all thy household stuff? Set it here before my brethren and thy brethren, that they may judge betwixt us. These 20 years have I been with thee, thy ewes and thy she-goat have not cast their young, and the rams of thy flocks have I not eaten. That which was torn of beasts brought it not unto thee, I bore the loss of it. If my hand didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. Thus I was, in the day that the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep fled from my eyes. These 20 years have I been in thy house. I have served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy flock. And thou hast changed my wages 10 times. Except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Yitzchak had been on my side, surely thou hadst sent me away empty. God has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands, and gave judgment yesternight. And Laban answered and said unto Yaakov, the daughters are my daughters, the children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks. All that thou seest is mine. And what can I do this day for these my daughters?
Selfish dude.
And for these my children whom they have born.
Time sheet.
And now, come, let us make a covenant, I and thou, let it be a witness between me and thee. And Yaakov took up a stone and set it up for a pillar. And Yaakov said unto his brethren, gather stones. And they took stones. And they made a heap, and they did there by a heap. And they did eat there by a heap. And Laban called it Yegad HaSahaduta, but Yaakov called it Gal-Ed. And Laban said, this heap is witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name of it called Gal-Ed. And Mitzpah, for he said, Jehovah watch between me and thee when that we are absent one from another. And if thou afflict my daughters, and if thou take wives besides my daughters, no man being with us, God is witness betwixt me and thee. And Laban said unto Yaakov, behold this heap, and behold this pillar which I have set up betwixt me and thee. This is the heap of witness, and a pillar shall be witness that I shall not pass over this heap to thee, that thou pass not over this heap the pillar unto me for harm. The God of Abraham and the God of Nachor, the God of their fathers, judge betwixt us. And Yaakov swore by the fear of his father Yitzchak. And Yaakov offered a sacrifice in the mountain and called his brethren to eat bread. And they did eat and tarried all night in the mountain. Chapter 32, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And in the morning Laban rose up and kissed his sons and his daughters and blessed them. And Laban departed and returned unto his place. And Yaakov went on his way. And the angels of God met them. And Yaakov said when he saw them, this is God's camp. And he called the name of that place Mount Benai. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Brothers and sisters, I hope you got something out of what was brought forth. Yeah. Hoping and praying that the Most High God will bless the rest of our week and give us understanding throughout. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.